I feel the breeze over me. You watch your dreams unfold.
Hello everybody and welcome back to that short 10-minute break rather. We are going to go ahead and have some more games coming up to you guys. I think Stanford's going to be one of the teams. Let's talk about a quick recap of the previous game between USC and Arizona.
Yeah, you know what, USC and Arizona, that was a very intense match, probably one of the most intense matches that we have had so far. Unfortunately, Arizona was falling to USC 3-1, but they did not fall without a contest. That is for sure.
I definitely agree. These two teams seem to be the most close match teams that we have seen in this tournament so far. Actually, Arizona managing to take a game off of USC, the only game in this tournament so far that has not been a clean sweep 4-0.
That is correct. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and give you guys just a quick updated schedule of the matches so far today. You know, we have Oregon going 0-2, unfortunately losing to UCLA, who is now 1-0.
Yeah, Oregon actually taking an 0-2 score. Don't count them out of the tournament quite yet, although they are kind of in an underdog position. Arizona State taking a 1-0 lead versus Utah. Utah becoming having incredibly close pushes on every single map, but just falling a little bit short, and Arizona State able to capitalize on the opportunities that Utah was giving them.
You're completely correct on that one. Also, now we have Arizona and USC. Arizona going 0-1, and USC taking that game over Arizona 1-0. You know, that was definitely one of the most intense matches we've had seen today.
I agree, and here we see coming up next is going to be Stanford versus Colorado. Colorado actually being 1-0. I think they took one game off of Oregon. That's why Oregon is 0-2. Going to be Colorado and what was the other two? Stanford.
Colorado,
both incredibly close match teams in my opinion.
Right, and you know, you guys saw Stanford play last week in that show match from UCLA versus Stanford. UCLA did take that game. Stanford didn't have a very good time, unfortunately, but you know, Stanford is still a very good team, and Colorado, you know, these are two evenly matched teams actually when you go back and look at them. We're going to go ahead and look at the player standings now.
Yeah, here we can see these individual matchups between Colorado and Stanford. We have seen both of these two teams play before. Q-Smith was absolutely amazing for Colorado. Stanford's Shimmix was going toe-to-toe with Raxa and was winning a majority of the time. I am looking to see both of these two players go head-to-head at each other. I'm not sure who's going to come out on top.
And then we see Prodigal Sun actually as a substitute here for Stanford. It looks like Ace of Base and Tail Talks, you know, coming in, being the actual players here, and Quarky. Definitely really interesting to see Stanford's choices as far as substitutes and the real players, as we saw both AXD6 and Prodigal Sun playing in the last match.
That is absolutely interesting to see how Prodigal Sun and AXD6 got subbed out. Last time we watched them play against UCLA, both of those two players rather, were in the game, and they were doing a really good job. AXD6 was on support, and Prodigal Sun was playing Reinhardt and tank, and he was on point with his hammer down ultimates. He was just flawless in every single back-to-back. It wasn't enough, however, to stop UCLA. Colorado on the offside are subbing out Minecraft Kid. He was one of the people that we saw in the last week matchup against Oregon when Colorado won. Maybe they decided he wasn't doing good enough a job, or maybe their substitute Koapu is going to do a better job.
I mean, or he might be stuck playing Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
That was a bad joke. I'm sorry, Minecraft Kid. That was a terrible joke. I still love you just as much.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, yeah, Colorado coming in with a fairly normal team composition here. 2 healers, 2 tanks, and 2 DPS players. Kohapu being a new player. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry. But being a new player that we did not see there last match.
Yeah, it's gonna be looking forward to see how these two teams match up. I think they are incredibly even in overall Summoner SR. They're going to be overall incredibly equal teams. However, Colorado does have former momentum. They have the confidence. They know that they've beaten Oregon 1-0 with a completely clean 4-0 sweep. Stanford, however, getting stomped by UCLA. They may be a little bit upset. They may be a little bit, you know, unconfident in their performance. Going to be interesting to see how these two teams are going to play out together.
That is definitely something that we need to be watching out for. So we're going to go ahead and move on here, hopefully to the match here in just a second as we get everything set up.
Yeah, let's talk about Shimix, though, for 1 second. Shimix on Colorado, he is an absolute phenomenal player. He was going, like we said before, toe-to-toe with Raxa. Raxa, by far, is one of the better players that we have seen in this entire tournament. He pops off on every single character that he plays, and Shimix was capable of winning one after the other of Widowmaker trades, who is Raxa's main. He seems to be the guy to beat, and Shimix took that spot, and he beat him.
He definitely did beat him. Shimix had very great battles there with Raxa. And, you know, Raxa, being said, he never even gives us a chance to speak. So if you can take out the person who doesn't even let us talk about what's going on in the match, you're definitely doing something correct.
He's such a good player that he ends matches before they even start. Like, you're not on the point yet, and 5 members of your team are down. And you're like, oh, how did that happen? You check the oh, Raxa happened. Shimix was the only person for this Colorado team that seemed capable of stopping that.
That is correct, and hopefully we will see Shimix doing the same thing that Raxa did to us, and hopefully he will leave us speechless as well.
I agree. Looks like we're going to be looking at the first map right here, which is going to be Hollywood.
Hollywood is definitely, I'm not a really big fan of the map. I feel like Hollywood is definitely one of the bigger maps, and it's definitely one of the longer maps, so I don't favor it personally, but it is one of those hybrid maps. So again, that is the first pick that we will always have for these games.
I agree. Hollywood actually, I think, is the second largest map in all of Overwatch, next to maybe Route 66. I could be wrong on that one. I'm not sure off the top of my head. However, oh, Shimix plays for Stanford, rather. That is our bad entirely. Looks like they are going to be on defense, is Stanford.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see exactly what Stanford wants to pull out here. Smith running that soldier we saw there last time.
Colorado Soldier 76 on Q-Smith is ridiculously difficult to handle. Looks like they're going to be trying to take the high ground away from Stanford, but they're doing a great job of stopping them from seizing control at this point.
See, everyone taking the high ground here. As far as Stanford goes on the attack, they're actually going to be able to push on this point fairly easily.
Shimix diving into the backline and taking out Drygrass, and also removing the Diva Mag. Dinosaurs taking out the Dino after he got removed. Stanford is down 5-0, 2 characters left, but Colorado has been stunned.
It looks like Colorado is able to actually push onto this point fairly well. Stanford, unfortunately, not able to really defend that as much as we would have liked.
I agree. A convincing first push from Colorado. Stanford kind of finding how they fall in this matchup. They are incapable of stopping that Colorado front line with Koapu and System on Reinhardt.
Yeah, you know what? Looks like they're all kind of just living around the point, taking it chill as this initial door opens.
Stanford and Shimix, however, is immediately taken out by Atomic Spoon, who is a fantastic Junkrat player. We have seen him play before, and he does a phenomenal job in any situation. Q-Smith trying to flank around the right side and deciding, nope, I'm going to go and stick on the payload.
Definitely looking for a good position here. Q-Smith definitely needs to get in a really nice position. It's really quite as far as attacking on this map for Soldier, because it's hard to get into a position that's not hard to take.
Stanford getting picked off left and right, however. Shimix went down, Dinosaurs as well. Atlas now getting picked off. They're just falling one at a time, not really able to group together as a team and stop Colorado, who is pushing as hard as you can.
Stanford definitely needs to make a change here, and we'll need to see something else come out from them, as it seems like that Tracer and the McCree picks are not working. They're not able to get the flanks that they need. It looks like they might need to make a switch. I'd like to see something that would be able to handle this Soldier, and I would like to see something that would be able to handle Atomic Spoon a little bit better as well. It looks like Colorado is kind of an unstoppable force. They're not really able to break past them.
Well, the thing is they can't necessarily switch off to Farah and Mercy, which would be a good pick because Q-Smith is already on Soldier 76. If you're trying to switch off into a character, Q-Smith already has his ultimate. You're not going to get any damage off, and you're not going to get any charges if you make a change to Farah here for Shimix.
You are completely correct. Stanford also needs to change these tanks. Corky, she needs to switch off as such a static tank. They need to be more mobile. They need to be able to push onto Colorado. They need to be able to get onto the point. Unfortunately, Orisa is not able to do that. It looks like she burned that supercharger, but she is going to stay on that Orisa. It looks like they're going to play with a pretty static composition, which really doesn't work out very well on this map.
I completely agree with you there, Zader. Colorado, these tanks are just popping off in every sense of the word. The tanks are moving in. They're isolating people and giving Atomic Spoon amazing opportunities just like that one. to use his Junkrat Tire ultimate to slaughter the backline of Stanford. 4 people down, Colorado 6 up.
Definitely unfortunate to see the static composition just not really working for Stanford. I really want to see some changes. There we see Shimix hopping onto the Widowmaker, going to be able to get a few picks. I really want to see a tank switch here. I hope Corky does something. Unfortunately, she does not. She's going to stay with this static pick here. She needs to get on the point, though.
Dinosaur is doing a fantastic job of slowing the Colorado push and trying to stop them flanking. However, it's just not enough. You can't stop a tank from getting in your face. They have too much HP. Q-Smith deciding to pop that the Tac Visor ultimate and doing some ridiculous amounts of damage onto the front lines.
And there we go. Actually, unfortunately, he's able to get taken out. He doesn't really have too much of a team with him at the moment. Looks like Colorado is actually getting taken out. This static composition will now work now that they have control of the point. This is what you...
0.04 meters. 0.04 meters.
That is seen that all day today.
It's just every single matchup that we've had has come down to these ridiculously close positions. I'm not sure if Colorado's going to be able to push in. They have to be down. Stanford has the static comp that is favored on this last point. I'm not sure if Colorado's going to be able to break it.
I really don't know about that either. You know, it's really interesting to see exactly what Colorado's going to be able to do here. It looks like they're keeping just around the same composition. It's been working for them, and that's really great. Stanford keeping this same composition now, it will start working for them a lot better.
Exactly. They should have made some changes in the mid-game right there that would have stalled them. Shimix, however, immediately getting picked off by Q-Smith's Helix Rocket. Colorado utilizing this dive comp and going in as hard as they possibly can.
And actually, the Earth Shatter actually catching D.Va and Mercy there in that Earth Shatter. It's going to be absolutely huge for System to get this pick. Atomic Spoon coming out with all the picks. Starfish finishing off the rest of the team. Looks like it's just Dry Gases left. And it looks like this is probably going to be a point taken here for Colorado. That was an amazing performance that we have just seen with Colorado. I don't have any complaints about that. Q-Smith and Atomic Spoon doing a very good job at, you know, taking out the key picks that they needed to be doing, and I really don't have any complaints besides Stanford. Stanford, unfortunately, really needed to get off of that static composition after that first point. When you have a payload pushing towards you, you need to be able to push onto the payload. Keeping an Orisa, keeping static back there, that's just going to cause them to push the payload. That's just going to cause them to push the payload. It's going to get even farther as you're sitting Orisa as they just approach you and just beat down your shield.
Exactly. Orisa is one of those characters that is really good with protection compositions. If she's fantastic at setting down her shield in key areas and stalling pushes around corners, which are static areas. It's not wide open. There's not flanking routes. You have to go through this corner. There's no real two ways about it. Orisa can plop her shield right there, and that does amazing amounts of work. However, on Hollywood, when you get out into that payload, there is not a single corridor around you. Everything is wide open. You have linear sight up, you have linear sight left and right, or is it she's not going to be able to do anything. Flankers are just going to get behind you. Pharahs can be above you. Widowmakers can get on top of the buildings and snipe you. Orisa was an awful pick right there on defense. She's good at the very last point because, like I said, they have to push into that chokehold, which is just 2 doors. That's it. That's the only way you can go around that except for the top, but not a lot of people favor that.
I agree with you on that one, and it looks like we are ready to go ahead and switch sides here as we prepare everything up. And it looks like we are going to have Colorado here on the defense now and Stanford here on the attack. Stanford running less of static composition. And Ace of Base, unfortunately, getting
Q-Smith
getting his base aced.
that was weak sauce.
That was
please
weak.
Don't. Please don't. Q-Smith just doing a fantastic job with these headshots. Back and forth, took out Atlas, took out a support. Q-Smith takes out Corky. There's nothing that can stop Q-Smith. He's already at 68% ult charge, 70%. That's it for this first push for Stanford. They're going to have to regroup and reassess how they're going to handle Q-Smith on
Q-Smith showing off that golden gun there as well. It is really nice to see Q-Smith, you know, doing really good on this Widowmaker and getting these correct picks. It looks like he took out both supports there initially as well. And Starfish saying a little bit of a hi.
Q-Smith as well is actually using the best skin in the game, Nova, only because it is StarCraft 2. Oh, and immediately picked off by a sound arrow from Atlas. A headshot sound arrow. That is not easy to do. Starfish getting caught up in the backline as a result of this. Drygrass, however, has immediately rezzed Q-Smith, and that's not going to halter them at all. Stanford is dropping once more. Shimix, low HP. Ace of Base, low HP. Dinosaurs is down.
And it looks like System was able to take out a lot of Stanford's team there. It looks like Stanford and Colorado are a little bit even on the team compositions here. Shimmick's actually getting taken out by Q Smith with a clean headshot. Atlas looking for Q Smith right now. It looks like Q Smith is going to have the upper hand on that one as arrows have to travel.
I agree. The fact that he's a hit scan rather than projectile makes all the difference in Hanzo versus Widowmaker matchups. It's really, really not a situation you want to be in as a Hanzo, but you do have the added benefit that you can step out around the corner, shoot an arrow, and immediately go back into the safety. You don't have to have that direct line of sight. You can utilize the fact that you shoot projectiles rather than hit scan shots to your advantage. And I think, as you can see, he's right there, jumping in front of the truck and then landing, utilizing the fact he shoots projectiles, not hit scan.
That is correct. It looks like Shimmick actually has switched to the Widowmaker. It looks like they're making a little bit of a switch here, switching him off the tank. They don't want to do that triple tank anymore.
Atlas and Shimmick both playing snipers and relying on dinosaurs to be a majority of the anti-tank damage. However, Q-Smith showing who is the favored Widowmaker here and slaughtering Shimmick.
Atlas is not able to find enough shots here on the Widowmaker. Not clean enough shots. Q-Smith is just punishing Atlas here. Atlas needs to either hit his shots or he needs to make a change. Hanzo, he's not hitting his shots. He should have his ultimate by now, but he does not. He's not hitting enough shots.
The ultimate from Hanzo would be absolutely essential to pushing this first point. It would destroy their defenses, but he's not capable of getting it because Q-Smith is just not letting him do any damage. Q-Smith is popping off here.
Q-Smith is doing a very good job here. See, Shimmick took out Atomic Spoon's tire, but then Q-Smith unfortunately took out Shimmick right after that. Atlas actually getting a pick there on Q-Smith. Looks like he is going to have his ultimate here for this push.
Looks like Dinosaurs is doing his best to destroy the front lines of the opposing team. However, Atomic Spoon is doing a great job of countering, raining bomb after bomb into that up-close corridor, and Colorado eliminates 4 members of the Stanford push.
And here we see Atlas actually taking out Q-Smith twice in a row here. And Q-Smith actually took out Atlas at the same time. And do we see that projectile, actually working in Atlas's favor there a little bit.
Exactly. Atlas finally has his Hanzo Dragon ultimate. That is going to be really, really impactful, assuming he can pull it off right. It may be coupled with a Shatter Down from Tailtox. No, he decides to pop it.
Here comes that ultimate. And it looks like actually it's able to get dry grasses.
That's interesting. It looked like a majority of the team got out of the way. However, Drygrass got caught up one way or the other. Irrelevant because Q-Smith immediately counters and takes out Atlas. That stalls the push.
Tailtoxy charging in a little bit too far in. Unfortunately, Corky getting a little bit too far in. System taking out both tanks there. Shimmick's actually able to take out Q-Smith. However, Q-Smith is not the person that you want to be taking out right now. You want to be taking out these tanks as they are holding the point very strongly right now. And Starfish actually taking out Shimmick's there. Kind of a punishment. It looks like we are going to go into overtime. Stanford is going to have to do everything they can to get onto this point. Tailtoxy doing everything he can. And it looks like Corky she's going to try to get on the point. Looks like she's actually able to get on the point. They're going to keep going into overtime.
Koapu retaining onto that Diva ultimate. Can you pop it at any second? Pops it right there, actually, and gets Ace of Base and Shimmick with it as well. That's 6 down. You can't push if you're all dead.
You cannot push if you are all dead. It looks like Colorado
2018, words of wisdom.
Will take
you can't push if you're dead.
Memes. So it looks like, Colorado is going to take that first game. So we'll have to be interesting to see exactly what map Stanford chooses to pick here as the loser's pick. We see Atomic Spoon here. Kind of getting this play of the game. Punching, pancaking, tiring, bombing, everything.
That's risky. That's risky to drop your Junkrat tire in the middle of a team fight like that. Not only can it get detonated right in front of you and you not have anything happen, you can shoot the you can shoot the Junkrat tire off from a safer location and probably have better success. You also have the fact that it's anonymous. You don't know where it's coming from. You have that anonymity on your side, and that can be absolutely impactful when you try and dive around the back and no one's looking for it and it hits them from behind and you kill 4 people.
You are right on that one. And, this is why I don't play Junkrat, because I'm really not good at controlling that tire. Like you said, it does get really quiet when you are climbing that tire on the walls. It's basically you basically can't even hear it. So if you do a really good job at getting that tire up a wall and you can come and get it around the corner, like you said, it does a lot more impact than popping it right in the middle of a team fight.
Exactly.
Not only does that risk your life as Junkrat, but that also risks your tire because it is completely visible in the middle of the team. You want to be able to stay alive, and you do not want your tire to get shot.
In spite of that, though, the tanks from Colorado doing a fantastic job of defending that Junkrat while he used his tire in the middle of a team fight. It ended up working out in spite of it being kind of a risky situation for them to do what they did, but it paid off in the very end, and that's what matters.
You are completely correct, and it looks like looks like we have the loser's pick here. It looks like we are going to go ahead and head over to Hanamura for our capture point map.
Yeah, the capture point map not being Temple of Anubis. I think people realize that Temple of Anubis is really, really easy to do defense on. So if you lose, you're going to be on defense. You can pick Temple of Anubis and say, hey, this first point, you're not going to be able to take it. We have the advantage here. So they'll pick Temple of Anubis. They're actually picking Hanamura, as we had mentioned before, which is a little bit more complicated of a map in the way that the compositions are going to be playing out. It's not so dive heavy that you'll see on Temple of Anubis.
Right, you're not going to see as much dive, and on top of that, you're also not going to see as much like campy sort of compositions, right? You're going to see a little bit more normal compositions because holding this choke is a little bit more unique, as this chokehold kind of has access for a Pharah to kind of come up top, and when you have that Pharah up top, you need something that is not so static because you need to be able to move out of that Pharah's line of sight.
I completely agree. This also favors Soldier 76 all the time. When there you can see Stanford on Dinosaurs taking Soldier 76, Q-Smith remaining on Widowmaker, trying to utilize the fact that this is a very long sight range map.
You know, definitely interesting to see Stanford here starting on the attack. Ace of Base unfortunately getting picked off by Q-Smith. Q-Smith still on that Widowmaker doing a very good job. Shimix on that Sombra looking for the health pack hacks. They're going to want to do, she's going to want to do her best to be able to either hack the Diva or the Orisa so they can't put that shield down.
I don't know how confident I am about this Sombra pick. Sombra on offense on this map is not going to do very good. It's going to help you push because there are close health packs that you can hack, but when it comes to actually pushing, she's not going to be able to deal damage. She's not going to be able to find opportunities. As you can see her teleport in. Q-Smith is already on the hunt and he can call out, hey, Sombra's in the back, and immediately you see Diva pull back.
You know, Q-Smith definitely did see, you know, Shimix come up here. Unfortunately, Shimix is able to take out Atomic Spoon. Atomic Spoon did not know what was going on. The EMP is already coming out. It looks like she actually tried to use it, and Kohapu was able to take her out, and it looks like that ultimate was wasted.
That's what I'm talking about right there. That's how you want to use your Junkrat tires. Takes out a tank, takes out a support, that stalls the push of Stanford. But this is also what I meant about the Sombra pick. Sombra dives into the backline. She actually, luckily, got a kill on Atomic Smith. Probably he didn't react in time or something like that, but then the pick was immediately rezzed, and that was the end of it.
You are completely correct on that one. You know, it's definitely going to be interesting to see if Shimix decides to either switch off or, you know, keep playing that Sombra and try to get into the back and hack those back health packs. If she's able to do that without being sighted, that's when that Sombra is going to actually become useful, because people like Q-Smith and Atomic Spoon are going to rely on those back health packs because these healers are going to focus on these frontline tanks.
System favoring the Orisa pick over the Reinhardt right here, going to utilize that 900 hit point shield as best as possible. And also, Orisa on Corki. That seems to be the only character that she knows how to play.
Well, you know what? You know, Corki does have a wide range. She seems to favor this Orisa. It's not really a big deal, but she just needs to use it correctly. It looks like they are able to push in. Now is the time she wants to get set up as Sombra. Atomic Spoon still in the back lane, not noticed by anybody, getting an insane amount of damage down.
Colorado ridiculously powerful right here, stalling Stanford as best as they can. Only system drops for them, while 3 members of Stanford fall.
Q-Smith still alive, getting a lot of picks. Has to drop down, able to get a pick on Tail Toxie. Corki going down to Atomic Spoon. Q-Smith getting very low, but it looks like they are going to be able to defend this point. Ace of Base coming in with the Coalescence for this next fight. Q-Smith using that Infrasight.
I love this pick from Sarfish on Colorado. Zenyatta is going to be really, really impactful on holding this point.
I definitely agree with you on that one. Atlas, Ace of Base, and Dinosaurs all coming in with their ultimates. Corki, she is getting very close to her ultimate. They're going to have a very solid push here. Colorado needs to be prepared.
Stanford, like you said, is getting really close to max ultimates for the entire team. Shimix, however, seems to be the only one that isn't. That's going to be the hinge. If they can't counter your ultimates, that's when Sombra really shines. But it's incredibly difficult to get in a situation like that. She's not really getting any ult charge. Look at it. She's statically letting it go by itself.
Yeah, and you know, they really need that Sombra EMP to get. You know, they need that Sombra EMP to be able to get that push, and System unfortunately does go down. Stanford needs to push on this. Sombra hack is up. Looks like she has EMP'd everybody. Q-Smith coming in with the Infrasight. Let's see if Colorado can actually push all the way. Sorry, can defend this one.
Coalescence coming out there from Ace of Base, rather, and Colorado cleans up the entire Stanford push right there. Drygrass is immediately rezzing Starfish, and Atomic Spoon pancake bombing, cleaning up Corki. That's it. They have 14 seconds left, and they just use a majority of their ultimates, and everyone's down. Stanford is forced to switch Shimix onto Tracer to hopefully permanently reset this this first point on Hanamura.
It looks like they are going to have 2 seconds to be able to get onto the point. It looks like they are not going to be able to. Shimmick's making that switch a little bit too late. We wanted to see Shimmick's switch much earlier. Unfortunately, he did not, and that is something that I really did not want to see there from from Stanford, and it's very unfortunate that they decided to keep that Sombra there the whole time, and even with that EMP push, they didn't get anything out of it.
Exactly. In spite of Sombra being a classified offensive character, she functions essentially as a support because she does healing when she hacks the health packs. She makes it so that not only can the enemy team not get healing, similar to a Ana bio grenade that stops the enemy team from getting healing, she also makes it so that her team can get those healing packs more often, but that only works if you're on a map where you're really close to health packs for both the offense and the defense. The maps like that, as we've mentioned before, are Temple of Anubis and Volskaya Industries, because you have those neutral health packs rather than offensive health packs or defensive health packs.
I completely agree with you there. Sombra definitely just was not the pick, but hopefully we see a better composition for them as far as the defense goes, as we're going to go ahead and see Stanford defending on Hanamura right now. It looks like these teams are ready to go.
I mean, simultaneously with the Sombra, I've always said, yeah, EMP is really good. It's really impactful. It can stop them from using their ultimates. Do you know what else stops them from using their ultimate? If Reaper ults you in the face and you're all dead. You can't use your ultimates if you're dead. So other characters can effectively do the exact same job as Sombra, but they don't need to rely on the team. Sombra has to use the team to utilize the EMP that she gives them.
That is correct. You are completely right as far as that goes. And here we see Colorado pushing in directly, getting a pick on Corky. Corky going down immediately. Looks like Starfish already is on the point for Colorado. Starfish dealing a lot of damage to Ace of Base.
The Dinosaur's taking out Kohapu right away. Stanford actually doing a very convincing job right here of stalling Colorado.
And it looks like, unfortunately, Stanford getting picked off. It looks like they only have 3 members on this point as far as System and Starfish being the 2 members on point. They're doing a lot of damage, though. They are actually able to get all these picks. Q-Smith cleaning up house. It actually looks like Colorado is going to take this point, and they also are going to take this game. It is now 2-0.
That is ridiculous from Colorado. They almost, I would even consider that a reverse sweep. They had so many characters fall to Shimex. They had 2 characters fall to Dinosaurs, but then they had Drygrass as res, and they used that momentum to kind of slingshot them into capturing the first point in under 2 minutes.
And capturing that point under 2 minutes is definitely a very hard thing to do on
easy.
Hanamura if you're, as far as having a solid defense goes. And Colorado really showed up and they pushed directly in. That's what we wanted to see Stanford do. They needed to get in. They spent a lot of time on that chokehold, losing their shields, losing their health, feeding a lot of ult charge. And meanwhile, Colorado knew that they needed to push directly in. So instead of sitting at that point, you saw that D.Va directly rush into the Orisa, and the Orisa died.
The concept of that is whether or not D.Va dies, it's irrelevant, because most people on that map, they have the 2 big doors to block off the entrance to that first point on Hanamura. They usually like to put up all their static defense, their Orza shields, their Reinhardt shields. They usually have a Roadhog sitting there camping, or a long-distance sniper from Q-Smith, and they just sit there and they hold it as long as they possibly can. If you have your D.Va dive into the middle and the entire team turns and looks at D.Va, now their backs are to the team, so they have the choice. You can ignore D.Va and let her solo take the point, or you can split off your DPSs. You can split off someone to go and deal with D.Va. It doesn't matter. Someone is not going to be there to hold that first point. You're not going to have the damage, or you're not going to have the HP or the healing to utilize the fact that you have all your static defenses in one point, and that is exactly what Colorado did.
You're completely correct on that one, and also that Sombra pick also doesn't allow you to push through like that.
Exactly.
As well. So, I do want to keep hitting on that Sombra pick because it just wasn't what we wanted to see, and hopefully they don't. Hopefully they won't pull that Sombra out again, and if they do, they need to pull out in the right situation. But it looks like we actually are moving up onto this next map here. It looks like it's going to be Oasis.
The last thing I want to mention on that is specifically when you're in a chokehold like that, Sombra can't run through invisible. She's going to take damage, so it really stalls her from doing any type of progressional push. Here we have Oasis going to be our King of the Hill map. First one that we've seen today that is not Lijiang Tower. How do you feel about Oasis and the kind of wonky maps that it has.
I actually love Oasis. I love it because it's very open. There's a lot of flank opportunities, and there's a lot of opportunities for your DPS to get where they need to go. And as a DPS player, that's what I really like. I want opportunities to go somewhere. You know, I want to be able to have different places, unpredictable places to go. And it looks like Starfish is going to actually get immediately taken out from Colorado. Colorado not off to a great start there.
A bit of an overextension from the 2-0 team so far. Dinosaur is able to capitalize for it. Shimix from Stanford is doing a great job of putting some punishment on the backline of Colorado. In spite of that, though, the healers are doing as good a job as any, and no one is actually falling down. Q-Smith getting caught up in the backline, and Dinosaurs picks him off. Shimix as well eliminates Atomic Spoon, who's playing Hanzo rather than Junkrat.
Yeah, you know, Dinosaur's doing a really good job on McCree, getting a lot of shield damage here, dodging a lot of those systems Arista shots. He's dealing a lot of damage to that. Now he's going to be able to go onto this Mercy. Unfortunately, that shield's going to come back up.
Almost no progress from either team. It was Stanford, and now it's Colorado. They're kind of back and forth a little bit, but it looks like it's going to be Colorado that is going to first take. Actually, I stand corrected. They only get it. No.
Ooh,
Oh,
there we go.
Finally, a first cap on the back of Q-Smith, who is eliminating Dinosaurs and Quarky.
Yeah, you know, Colorado doing a very good job holding that up. You know, they didn't come off on a great start, but they regrouped. They held themselves together, and they got the picks that that were necessary. They also all stayed behind that Arista shield. You saw System having his entire team around him. That shield was protecting everybody. They were able to do as much damage as possible. Q-Smith almost getting taken out by the McCree.
I agree with you. Q-Smith, a little bit of an overextension right there. Had he been picked off with that McCree, it's now a 5v6 as Stanford moves in as 6 onto the point. That's not a situation you want to be in, as Tracer is ridiculously powerful at taking off supports from the opposing composition.
Oh.
Dinosaurs just a millimeter to the left on that
Dinosaurs
headshot.
needs to work on those Tracer headshots. He's got to make sure that he has those lined up. He does have a little bit more time. Would like to see him get those Tracer headshots just a little bit more. And that Arista pull was actually insane.
That was ridiculous. Sniping 2 people off the edge. Dinosaurs and Ace of Base falls immediately to System. That Orisa was ridiculous. You cannot push up on the stairs if the enemy team has a Lucio or an Orisa, and they have both.
Yeah, you know what? System timed that halt perfectly. She knew they were coming around those stairs. That is team communication. She couldn't see them, but she knew they were there.
Tracer saw them. That's the big point.
There we go. You know, they have great team communication. Everyone is communicating with each other, and that is leading them to get key picks and key pulls like that. Arista's halt is not easy to pull off people on the edge. It's very precise, and you have to know where people are.
Exactly. It's a skill shot, even more so than Roadhog's hook. In spite of that, System doing a great job of utilizing it to its full potential. Colorado with 4 ultimates. However, 2 members have fallen. Stanford may have an opportunity here to push onto the point. 90% left.
Dinosaur's finally getting that key pick on Q-Smith. Able to get, most likely going to come around for a good high noon if there's a lot of people from Stanford up alive. Unfortunately, Dinosaurs was taken out.
Shimix from Stanford doing a good job. He eliminates System, and Atomic Spoon counters by taking out Atlas the support. Koopu eliminates Shimix with his ultimate on Diva.
Tailtoxy doing a really good job sticking on those snipers. Atomic's been going down to Tailtoxy. It looks like he is still alive on the point. He's holding it as long as he can. It looks like, unfortunately, Stanford is not going to be able to hold this point as much. Dinosaur's doing everything that he can. He does not have that big of a health pool, though. He's not going to be able to live for very long.
Colorado with a 100-0 moving in onto the first point of Oasis. It's going to have to be a reverse sweep if Stanford has any hopes of staying in this tournament, as it is 2-0. If they get the 3-0, Stanford's done for.
Right, I definitely agree with you on there. As far as highlights for that game goes, Orisa with that halt,
Yeah.
very, very brilliant team communication. Dinosaurs, you know, we definitely wanted to see him get a little bit more of those Tracer headshots. You know, you do have it is a very small window, but it does you know, I personally, as somebody who has trained to do that, you have more time than you think, and you got to slow it down a little bit. And you saw it towards the end of the game. He slowed down a little bit. He made sure he had it on the head, and then he started picking off Shimix. And that's when you started seeing them being able to push in a little bit more, because Shimix wasn't applying pressure. So Dinosaurs needs to slow down his shots.
I absolutely agree. Me as a Tracer player, when I'm going up against McCree's, I find it all too easy sometimes to predict when they're going to use their flashbang and just dodge out of the way, and then I have the advantage. The only reason why McCree can counter Tracer is because of the flashbang stuns. You have to land it, and he did, but incapable of capitalizing because he didn't land the headshot follow-up. That would have stalled Colorado from holding it for so long.
You are completely correct. He did a very good job. He hit every single one of his flashbangs. I actually don't believe he missed one.
Yeah.
The problem was he just needs to slow down his shots. Other than that, very great McCree gameplay. And it looks like we are going to go ahead, and it looks like the next map is ready to go. It looks like both teams are rolling out to the objective. Let's see who gets this point first.
This is the most difficult point to hold on all of Oasis, with that circle in the center, with that tower in the middle that people can go in and out of. It is almost impossible to get a full 100%. I expect this to be 99% to 99%.
I agree with you on this one. Let's see if Colorado is able to hold as much as possible. It looks like they probably will get this point at first. It looks like they are getting a bunch of key picks. Q Smith doing a very good job picking off those supports.
Colorado eliminating 4 members of the Stanford team right off the bat because of Q Smith doing some amazing body shots on Farah.
You know, Corky doing her best job, trying to hold that point as much as possible just so they don't get as much percentage. Unfortunately, she did go down. It looks like they will have to regroup and push to take this point back.
They're even getting pushed back into their spawn right here. As you can see, Q Smith's Farah is just raining terror, and he picks off Ace of Base millimeters outside the front of their spawn. You cannot let that happen if you ever have a chance of pushing onto this point.
And it looks like they are actually being able to push out these guys very well. System a little bit too far forward, actually able to get out. Shimmick's looking for him, not able to find him though. He wants to look for that ferret, and he found him. Oh no!
I don't think I've ever seen that in the history of this map. No one goes that far to the left. A little bit of a mistake out of Shimmick's, which is not rare. By not necessarily overextending, but extending too far to the left and getting hit by a car.
Just walked ever so slightly to the left. You know, those cars are random. She could have been lucky. She could have not, she could have not been hit
by a car.
By that
the
car.
Mercedes was out for vengeance.
You see, there are long gaps, but you know that unfortunately they scooted over just to the left a little bit too far, and it looks like we have had a disconnection, so we did need to go ahead and run into a pause. Hopefully they will get back here soon, and it looks like actually they are able to get them back, and they're going to go ahead and get this set up here in just a minute. We'll get right back with this game. Sorry about the unfortunate disconnection. It looks like that's been a long-running problem here with these games today. We're very sorry about that.
Let's talk about specifically Q Smith and the pharmacy comp that's going on. He's getting the pocket heals that he needs, and he is just being absolutely accurate on the Stanford pushes. They are literally outside of their spawn. Their spawn is here, they're here, and Farah is right there just shooting left and right. He took out Ace of Base, and he took out Widowmaker from Shimmick's as he extends too far to the left, probably because of Farah isolating him.
I agree with you there, and Q Smith is doing a very good job on that Farah getting the key picks, and it looks like everyone has gotten back. It looks like the players have reconnected. It looks like that pause is coming off, and we're going to get right back into the action. Shimmick's on Widowmaker.
Back alive after that embarrassing blunder, getting ran over. Here we have Colorado still holding them outside of their spawn. 62%, rapidly approaching 70 for Colorado. System pops his ultimate and knocks Dinosaur off in the back.
Looks like he's trying to push him off to the cars. Rude.
They're trying to make it a little bit of a mockery, like, hey, I don't even need to kill you. I'll let the cars kill you. But Colorado is just impervious to damage right here, it seems. They're not even letting them leave the spawn.
System really is far up there. I don't know how he didn't die. He was overextended so much. He was able to actually get his ult charge back fairly quickly. Already 25%. It's very hard as Winston, especially when you don't get as much damage. 17 HP for Q Smith, and Q Smith getting taken out by Shimmick's.
Shimmick's doing a fantastic job of sniping him, and Koapu actually taking out Shimmick's. Everybody dropped. Everybody drops for Stanford as Colorado unifies and uses their ultimates and just really shuts this game out. It's actually going to be 100% to 0.
All right, and well, it looks like it is that 100-0 again with Colorado taking this game 3-0. It looks like they are going to win this match, but we will play that fourth game. As always, we do want to play that that full payload push map. I believe is the last map that we do play. You get System in
be the
as the Orisa, and I am just. Let's see. I am just getting word that Kohapu is a girl, so I'm very sorry that if I'm calling you a he, it's very hard to judge names. But we will get that.
Our apologies on that one. News that Corky is also a girl as well, but we actually knew that previously, and we did a good job of using proper pronouns and things like that. We are going to take a quick 2-minute break before going on to the fourth map, which is going to be a payload map.
That is correct. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Turn around, I feel the breeze over me. You watch your dreams unfold. Let it come around and let it breathe over me. It's time to go away into the light. I feel the calming energy. I see the darkness coming, and I'm calling you to help me set me free. I'm calling for you. I'm calling for you.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the PACG Overwatch broadcast at the University of Utah campus in the Einar Nielsen Fieldhouse Center. We are going to move on to our final map of the day between Stanford and Colorado. Colorado having already won the series 3-0, but the fourth final show map.
You know how I said maps are getting repetitive? They're getting repetitive. We're gonna go ahead and move to Junkertown. It seems like all of these teams have very specific maps in mind, and they definitely know which maps are not very strong maps and what maps are not very key maps that they want to be playing on. You know, we see all of these maps that are very special. That's why we see these very repetitive, because these are the maps that teams want to practice.
Exactly. Junkertown being one of those maps that it has extreme amounts of diversity in the sense that it has high ground, it has low ground, it has overviews, it has left and right, it has open views, it's got everything. Junkertown, amazing, and it also favors Widowmaker from Q-Smith, as we can see.
I love playing Widowmaker on this map. Love it.
It's so much fun. And Tracer as well, she can go left and right into those flanking points, as you see, and like especially in situations like this where people run protect the president ever so often, a Tracer pulse bomb will just stop that in its tracks.
And here we see Shimix just firing away as Bastion. You know, just doing everything he can. Kopu getting hooked and killed there. Unfortunate for her. She will have to get protected if she wants to get back into mech form. Unfortunately, she does not have that protection.
Yeah, a little bit of an overextension from Koapu as she tries her best to try and knock that Bastion off of the payload. It's just not enough as Shimix does way too much damage on Bastion. Looks like Atomic Spoon for Colorado as well is already having his Junkrat Tire ultimate, but Stanford Tail Toxie is falling.
And there, you know, it really, oh
my.
I don't even know what I was going to say. Atomic Spoon, what are you doing, man?
That's how it's done. You cannot run Protect the President comp against a Junkrat if you don't know where the tire is coming from, because that's going to happen to you. They were all grouped together, and he knew that. And Atomic Spoon, 4-man kill, immediate 100 to zeros, no chance.
You know how I was talking about you can't hear that tire coming in? I couldn't hear that tire coming in.
Exactly.
I didn't even know it popped out. That is absolutely insane. Atomic Spoon, good pick there as far as this defense goes. Colorado, definitely a very good job. They're going to be able to hold this. They cannot let this Bastion set back up. Corky, 1 bar of health.
Stanford doing their best to try and move on to the payload once more, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They had a good opportunity with the Shimex on Bastion, but it's just not enough. They have 3 characters falling, and this is exactly what we saw earlier today. Once your Bastion comp fails, you gotta change. There is no chance of you retaking that point, and if you do, you should consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, of course. I definitely definitely agree with you on there. Shimix, see, going directly down. When you go into that turret form, you're too static. You can't go anywhere. You can't deal enough damage when the whole team is collapsing on you. I really hope to see Shimix change to something here. There we go. Now we see the Widowmaker.
Much more efficient on this first point on Junkertown. You have long lines of sight, and it's going to be the only thing capable of dealing with Q-Smith, as they are not running a flanker. They have Dinosaurs on hit scan, and now Shimix on hit scan. He has to do a good snipe on Q-Smith if they have any hope of pushing this.
I agree with you there. Q-Smith doing a really good job. Kohapu, she has a great Diva ultimate bomb there, getting both Tail Toxie and Quarky to both a support and a tank. They're going to have to regroup on this one. Starfish using that Coalescence, dealing a lot of damage, just kind of pushing everybody off the point. Ace of Base looking like she most likely will get taken down unless she has that fade, and what looks like she did.
Atomic Spoon holding on that Junkrat tire. Hopefully we can see another one that is a quad kill. Those are ever so fun to watch. He's definitely preparing to use this. However, it looks like Reinhardt may know. Yeah, he definitely knows that Atomic Spoon is there.
He sees him. There's the Fire Strike.
12 HP.
The 12 HP. Oh, perfect. Drygrass is getting an immediate heal on there. Getting a little bit hurt, but it looks like Q-Smith is able to take out Shimix. Shimix, his Widowmaker here, not showing the true potential. Tail Toxie getting taken out by Q-Smith now. Atomic Spoon actually finding Corky with that tire. Q-Smith getting another pick.
He is definitely doing a great job of outshining Shimix, which is not easy to do. Shimix last week was looking incredibly powerful. He was taking out Raxa, as we mentioned previously, but Q-Smith is taking that limelight away from him and doing a majority of the work, with the exception of that Atomic Spoon quad bomb for Colorado's team.
Yeah, and now we see they're trying to approach a different direction here. We see that Orisa shield protecting that room as they push in. That Unstoppable coming out. It looks like she's able to get, I mean,
Atomic Spoon with a good pancake bomb eliminates 2 members of Stanford's push. But, I mean, it's already in overtime. Stanford is incapable of pushing forward. Shimix trying his best to move on to the point, gets denied by Systems Orisa.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate to see Corky still on this Orisa. They can't run this static composition anymore. They need to change off the Orisa. Yeah, like I said, I was kind of at a loss for words because she wasn't able to push up as well. Corky sitting on the point. Unfortunately, she unable to do a lot of damage. She's unable to be so mobile. She's just able to get focused out by those big tank targets, like Diva and Orisa. They can put a lot of damage into her.
That's exactly what I wanted to mention. Corky needs to realize that Orisa is a defensive tank, not an offensive tank for a majority of the situations. Diva would have been a much better pick in every situation there. She would have been able to dive the backline onto Q-Smith. She would have been able to stop the Junkrat tires. She would have been able to just really mess up the backline of Colorado, but rather choosing to try and defend her own as Orisa, it's not going to happen.
Right, like I said, the static compositions just don't work well when you're not either on the payload or the payload is stopped when you're on the defense. The payload has to be stopped on the defense, or it has to be moving when you're on the offense, and neither of those were the case.
Exactly. They had a good look at it with the Bastion composition when they were on the payload. They got it ever so close to capping the first point. Then that amazing Junkrat tire from Atomic Spoon drops in and eliminates all members of the opposing team, and then that's it. Once that happens, you have got to switch off of Bastion. We can't stress that enough.
Of course, you cannot stress that enough either. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and throw this over. It looks like we have switch sides. Both teams are ready to go. It looks like they are rolling out ready for this defense and this offense. Let's see exactly what we're going to do. We're going to see Stanford actually pushing up really far, holding the really odd position here. With the Maywall coming out, perfectly separating at least 3 of the team members there from Colorado.
However, they are incapable of getting picks as Q-Smith survives in the backline. Look to him to get some good picks. Starfish does damage on Stanford. Colorado counters this.
Unfortunately, yeah, Colorado did a perfect counter to that. They did not, it's something that you don't expect for everybody to get you walled off there at the spawn. Unfortunately, Stanford did not make a very good decision there. They needed to hold back. That is something that they cannot do. If they do it, they have to execute it perfectly. Unfortunately, that did not happen. System taking out Atlas for Stanford. Looks like Stanford, unfortunately, is going to have to reset this.
The thing about that is the Maywall was really is supposed to be key, that it's going to pick off the supports and stuff like that. The 2 tanks ran forward, and those were the only characters that Dinosaur's May was capable of picking off. Those aren't the characters that you want to isolate because they're not going to die. They're the tanks. It's their job to take damage.
That is correct. And here we see they have to back up on this one. But however, they do need to get on the point. That payload was able to push so far with that respawn walk back. Somebody needs to get on the point. It's getting closer and closer to that checkpoint.
Finally contested by Stanford, and they have just a couple more meters before it's on. As you can see, the tip of it is just barely pushing into that light zone. zone, but it's not going to be enough, I think, as it goes down to the less than 1 meter, 0.13 meters, as Stanford finally contests. Tailtoxie down, Shimex down, Atlas down, Corky down, and Colorado takes the map.
It is 4-0 for Colorado. Colorado pulling out an amazing performance against Stanford here. Stanford unfortunately not able to hold their own against Colorado. Colorado coming out as an underdog and showing that they are no longer an underdog. They are something to be feared of. Q Smith and his Widowmaker did so good. Atomic Spoon's Junkrat, so good. Everything about that was just so good. Colorado played every single moment of that game exactly how they needed to, and that is what we want to see from these teams that are fairly new to us. Unfortunately, Stanford not able to get what they need to get.
I agree with you. When it came down to it, Stanford, I think they did a better job against UCLA, in my opinion, is a better team than Colorado. I think if UCLA and Colorado went up against each other, UCLA would win, and Stanford did a better job against UCLA than they did against Colorado. That comes down to them being flustered, a lack of communication, a lack of changing, and things like that. Last thing I want to mention on that Junkrat ultimate, though, is Reinhardt was prepared for it. He had his shield directionally looked for it. If you pop your Junkrat ultimate in front of the shield absorbs that damage. No one in the backline gets hit. Amazing presence of mind from Atomic Spoon to jump on top of the payload and then jump behind the Reinhardt shield to clap everybody a 4-kill. Just amazing.
You are completely correct on that one. It was definitely a surprise to see Atomic Spoon coming out with that very clutch Junkrat tire. We would have seen that map go a very long, a much longer way if Atomic Spoon didn't hit that tire.
If Shimex on Bastion was capable of sniping the tire before the tire got on top of him and killed everybody, not only would they have been able to stay on the Bastion composition and continue to push the payload, but they would have capped the first point, which is ultimately what was their downfall.
That is completely correct. I really do agree with you on that one. Colorado just really showed their colors, and I would like to see them go against these higher teams now. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Colorado can do. I'm also excited to see what Stanford can do, though. Stanford is definitely something that we're not going to ignore here, because they are a very good team. They just need to make those switches, and they need to have that communication that I think a lot of the other teams have. I think they just need to work on a few things, but other than that, they've got the skill. They definitely do.
I agree. It comes down to communication, not switching off and things like that. Let's go ahead and take a quick recap as to what happened in the matchups that we played today. We're going to see that Oregon, unfortunately, going 0-2 overall, falling once to Colorado and falling today to UCLA. And then earlier on, we had Arizona State versus Utah. Utah getting it so close on every single map, but Arizona State emerging the better team.
And then just right after that, we had Arizona versus USC, which is definitely the match of the day for me personally. Arizona, unfortunately, falling to USC, but not without a very intense fight, leaving Arizona 0-1 and USC 1-0.
And Colorado taking a 2-0 in their division, eliminating, well, not necessarily eliminating, but taking a game off of Oregon and now taking a game off of Stanford. Great work from Colorado. They are definitely a team that we are going to be looking out for in these following weeks later.
I really do agree with you on this one. As we see all of these teams kind of fleshing out, you can now start rooting for your teams. You can now start rooting for the schools that you want to root for. You can now see all of these teams kind of come to light, and I am so excited about this. This conference has been so well these last 2 weeks, and thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for supporting the PACG and watching our streams, and taking the time out of your day to really support Overwatch and support the other games that are being played in these tournaments. We cannot appreciate it enough. I know I've had a ton of fun casting Overwatch for you guys. What about you, Zader?
I've had such a great time casting these games and being here with you guys. Everyone, you guys, thank you so much for all of your support with this thing, with the PACG conference and everything. And you know what, that's going to be the end of our day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Xander, or Zader.
I am White Ninja, and we will be seeing you guys next week at the same time.